J-Tek tutorial. No way. J-Tek tutorial. Okay. How the fuck do you record a tutorial? I don't know. Anyways, we have our sample. Awesome sample. And usually it's from Pokemon Mystery Dungeons. It's awesome. Usually what I do first is you need to sidechain instantly. Which you can do, you click you cut like a little bit off, and then you automate volume. Ka-chow. And everyone complains at me for doing it this way, but I find it really easy. And then you create a curve like that. And it creates like the pumping sort of. And you can change this curve to be as like however extreme you want it to be. But usually for J-Tek you want it to be quite steep. And you can also move this part down. And like mess around with this stuff and it changes the kind of sound quite a lot. But we'll do that. We'll mess around with that later. I need a kick. Just a kick. Who cares? And then you want to make sure the kick doesn't bleed over into where your bass is going to be. So you could either cut it like this, but I usually fuck around with the in and out knobs. And if you click normalize and you mess around with the in and out knobs, you can keep it like loud. And obviously like adjust the volume as you go. But if you just leave it out, it loses a lot of the punchiness, I guess. Bro, I fucking suck at this. I need to give up. Yeah, heavy kick. Awesome. Phenomenal. That's how you do J-Tek, guys. And a lot of vital. I use vital, you can use serum. I swear. It's where the real magic happens. It's where you do magic. I don't know if I'm gonna explain everything just for what I do, right? You want this LFO, bang like that on quarter note tempo. And you turn this all the way down. You turn this down by like 24. That's 2 octaves, crazy. And then you do the level on here. And you actually need to like place the note. You should probably tell what key the sample is in first, so it doesn't sound silly. This is also not stretch. If you want things to be on key, when you like stretch your sample to fit a BPM, if you turn it on, if you're on resample, sometimes you'll be like in between notes and it'll just sound off no matter what you do. So I usually just do stretch and then like turn this up until it sounds like semi. And then that sounds fine, whatever. And that's how you do J-Tek. No, I'm kidding. That kind of is mostly it though. I don't know why my vital is so huge. What the fuck? If you want to do funny basses, turn on the second oscillator in vital. You do FM from oscillator 2. It's kind of hard to do a tutorial on this because it's very dependent on what type of track you're making. But just load in some like silly billy wavetable. Usually ones that look like, if you want like more of a interesting sounding like silly bass, these sort of wavetables are the best. And you got the FM and you get some like ridiculous sounding stuff like this. But that has, you need to turn this down like 2 octaves. I was wondering why it sounded weird. That sounds way too aggressive. So you usually want like a sine wave for the first oscillator. I think it's also like an octave too. No, it just sounds like shit. Whatever. Yeah, that's the basics, and then you can kind of like just fucking automate everything. You can just do all sorts of like stupid shit, just mess around with literally everything. It doesn't matter. That sounds kind of cool. And also, sometimes when you do this, all of your low end on the bass will just like fucking completely disappear. So you just create a sine wave. You can do this inside of the vital patch or as like a separate, just like 3 times ask, like sine wave. But I usually do it inside, and you just make a normal sine wave that's just for the low end, and you create a filter that cuts the low end of this thing, so it just has no low end now, but then when you add this in, you have the low end back. Awesome. And that's like the basics of just like a kick bass, and from there you kind of just fuck around with it. I usually only use like 909 samples. I don't. Sometimes I'll mess around with like some other silly sounding percussion, but like 909 clap and hi-hat is always going to sound good on literally anything. Yeah. J-Tek. You can also like, it's a good example now of how the volume automation can change the sound of the entire track. And then inside of Vital you can also make the bass shot so it's more like bouncy. Yeah, like distortion because it's kind of quiet. Yeah, another cool thing you can do. If you're in Vital, you can do this in like Serum as well. Like any kind of. Oh my god. I'm like, all the words are escaping my head. You can do it in anything, whatever. Where is it? Global voice transpose. And you enter volume, put it on 12. And now, if you do that, this little thing, you can do that. And then you just go into it's tools, last tweak, create automation clip. You can do you can just do some crazy shit like that. Other than that, that's like all you really need to know for J-Tek. Everything else is just like experimenting and doing like weird shit and chopping samples. Yeah, that's it. That's J-Tek. Just make the music, it's easy.